Well, Far Cry 1 was the tropics. Far Cry 2 was the African desert, the savannah, and then Far Cry 3 returned to the tropics. So we'd already seen quite a lot of the globe, and we just wanted to. As developers, it was kind of a selfish move, right? Because when you make a game, you spend 2-3 years looking at the same environment every day for 40 hours a week. So just on a purely selfish, personal level, we wanted to broaden our horizons and look at different rocks and plants and leaves and trees and different environments. And the Himalayas they give this great sweep of variety. On a tropical island, there are only so many blue oceans and sandy beaches and palm trees that you can kind of shape into different environments. But in the Himalayas, you get everything from, it goes from almost sea level up to the highest peak in the world, right? So you get very, very snowy mountain tops where you need oxygen to survive, all the way down through drier valleys, down into almost kind of jungles and arboreal forests. So you get lots of variety. So it means that over the course of the game, you're going to see very, very different environments.
So talk about the story in the game. Who's the main character and who's this villain that you're facing?
Yeah, so in Far Cry 4, you play as AJ Gale. He's a native of Kyrat who's returning, having spent most of his life growing up in the US. And he returns with what seems like a simple, kind of personal and almost noble quest. His mum has recently died, and her dying wish was that AJ takes her ashes back to Kyrat, which was her country, and the country where AJ was born. So you start the game as AJ's crossing the border on what seems like a simple endeavor that quickly becomes complicated because he gets essentially kidnapped by pagan men almost 90 seconds after you pick up the controller and take charge. And then you start to realize that pagan men has a very personal connection to you and your mother and your father. You learn that your parents founded the Golden Path Rebellion, and the whole conflict in Kyrat is very much part of AJ's identity, which he doesn't know about. So what's kind of cool is we wanted to set up a situation where AJ and the player had the same absolute lack of information about Kyrat and who AJ is and who his family were and what they mean in the struggle. So everything that AJ learns, you're learning as a player. And really what we tried to do was make it feel like it was you returning to Kyrat rather than AJ. So you very quickly become the character, and all of the decisions that you make are the decisions that he makes. So he's never going to, in the game, AJ is never going to make a decision that you disagree with, because it's you as the player, not just as the spectator.
So talk about the villain in the game. What goes into developing someone like this? He's very James Bond-like villain, but he's also very kind of crazy Joker-type villain as well.
Yeah, I mean, antagonists are a lot of fun to work with. It's fun to allow yourself to think like a violent, sadistic sociopath for a while. It's a fun kind of creative day trip from the ordinary. And on Far Cry 3, we did a good job with antagonists. We now think of it as like a cornerstone of a Far Cry experience, right? People have this expectation that you're going to come out with a kind of an intense antagonist. Pagan Min is charming. He has the cult of personality. He's intelligent. He has this ability to convince people that everything he's saying is the way that things should be. You're never going to disagree with him as you sit across the table from him at dinner, until somebody pisses him off and he stabs them in the neck with a fork. And then suddenly you remember, the illusion fades, you remember where you are, you see the bloodstains on the walls, and you realize that, oh yes, this is Pagan Min, and he's killed a lot of people to sit on the throne he's sitting on right now.
Will we see any returning characters in Far Cry 3 make an appearance?
Yeah, I mean, in a big open world, it's fun to put in some Easter eggs for fans of the game. So even as far back as Far Cry 2, you'll find some references. And we have a few fan favorite characters returning.